I'm pretty sure Viking wouldn't have been that high.
Yeah, that's definitely up there. That's upset territory, I would say. You're probably right.
I think Viking today are probably the favourites in this one, though, as well. But again, like we said, it doesn't really matter because, any of these teams can take games off of each other. So I don't think it matters. I just think Viking played better yesterday than Five Men did. Like, Five Men had their moments, but in their series against Fly to Moon, they didn't ever really look like they were going to win either of the games, which I think in itself was a little bit worrying.
So now we get into the first BO3, the one to get you to the lower bracket final. So you're not even there yet if you're Five Men or Viking GG. And we get into the draft, so we have to figure out, at least between these two teams, what they're looking for. You've got an early Bloodseeker ban, which I'm totally about. I feel like that hero is just being disgustingly strong, not only in lane, but, the second we get to, like, the 10-minute mark, or when he hits 6, all of a sudden he's just walking around. Oh, I've already got a Veil. I just have brown boots. I'm rupturing you. Blood Right's down, and you can't do anything about it because it's so early in the game.
Yeah, and what I like about these two sets of bans for both teams is that they were widely accepted to be the best bans, because these are the bans we saw yesterday against both of them as well, from Fly to Moon and Nip. So, all of these 4 teams really, recognizing what their strengths are, what the other team's strengths are. And I'm not surprised to see the Tiny first pick again. If they'd have let that through, Viking would have picked it. Viking go back for this Snapphire for themselves, which, historically, these guys have loved Snapphire. Ever since it came out, they're like the Snapphire team, I think, Vikings. So we'll have to... and again, I will say, I think it dissuades Five Men from picking Phoenix as well.
Yeah,
so now
Viking, that was what I was going to think.
Yeah, so Viking can now look to potentially pick out for themselves as well. Should be interesting.
Yeah, I was thinking the same exact thing. Like, I saw that Sapphire, and I'm like, oh, Phoenix is obviously still in the pool. Do you risk taking the Phoenix? I feel like we've seen this matchup a couple times already in the 2 BO3s that we had, and it was just like, right, it's going to die. Your egg's going to die. But now, this does the same thing, I feel like, where Lena is, as Neff puts it, an egg scrambler. He says there's egg scrambler heroes, which I know we're very America's, region term right there. But yeah, heroes that can make sure that the supernova doesn't go off and you have yourself a scrambled egg.
But okay, so the way I look at that is that, yes, Lena's a good egg destroyer. I'm not going to call it egg scrambler. I'm not going to give you that luxury. But Snapfire is different because it kills it so quickly. So if you don't kill the Snapfire quickly enough before she gets a little shredder off, the egg just dies straight away. Whereas Lena takes a little bit longer. But I will say the Lena scales better into the late game against the Phoenix. So Snapfire's much better early on. Lena's better later on. I like the Lifestealer pick as well. It's really good against both these heroes so far. We saw this first phase band up against Nip yesterday. So this hero, Stonks in Nip are rising. Stonks in Lifestealer are also rising at the moment. So coming to pubs near you.
I'm a big fan of the stocks. I think if anybody's a good coder out there, making a Dota 2 stocks where you get like 50 shop gold to start with that you get to invest in heroes and their popularity at the beginning of a new patch would be very fun. You could take that idea. I guess I'm just giving ideas out today. But yeah, I don't know. I think that would be kind of fun. Like, you just invest in items, you invest in heroes that you think are going to gain popularity. Like, all of a sudden you're not seeing Ranavetos picked up, but you invest at very low rates. All of a sudden Ranavetos gets popular in pro games, and all of a sudden you're making money.
Isn't that technically what teams and analysts do? They just don't get, I don't get paid extra for knowing. I just have to guess, what I think.
I
like
feel
Helm
like
of Dawn.
There's a lot of guessing.
Remember before Helm of Dawn got nerfed, I was like, I'm sure this item is so good.
Yeah, and then
you
like,
were a couple of days later,
and it was getting picked up all the time. And you also do that with Meteor Hammer on Spectre.
Yeah, but that was only because I saw Hammer in pubs. I didn't come up with that. I saw other people.
You were the first one to say it publicly. No, in a game.
No,
I thought I was trying to give you some credit there. But yeah, back to the Lifestealer pick, I guess. I actually am not a fan of Lifestealer. I know, very controversial. I feel like these Lifestealers have just been struggling. I don't know. I seem, at least in the Americas region, it felt like every Lifestealer had to go BKB like second item.
No.
Like, yeah, it was really weird.
No.
It was so weird. If you look at those games, like it was BKB like second or third item for these lifestealers. I don't know what it was that caused all these lifestealers to get BKB, but it was odd.
You know what? In all fairness, having Rage, BKB, and then Raging again, that sounds absolutely terrifying to play against. So, I kind of get it. That'd be scary.
in a way, in its own way.
Lifestealer's scary, dude. Look at him. Look at that face.
Yeah. I mean, Lifestealer, that bottom row of teeth is definitely very uninviting. Or inviting if you're going to an
haven't got
eating
Twitch chat
competition.
open. Oh, God, give me a sec. I need to get Twitch chat open.
You need that Twitch chat integration in your life, Mo.
How am I supposed to know what people are saying and all the smiley positive energy that's coming forward if I don't have Twitch chat open? Okay, There we go. I've got it. Don't worry.
Invoker band,
Problem solved.
Storm, Ember, a lot of mids. I mean, you've got Lina and Tiny that are both mid heroes here. Obviously, Tiny has been the more preferential of the two in the mid lane, but that's because I feel like we've seen either Lina get banned or ignored overall.
Yeah, I think it's more likely to be Tiny 2, Lina 4, but could be either. It's fine. They could just swap it around depending on how the game goes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what they want to do with this lifesteal and how they want to build off of it. Because I get that lifesteal is a good hero at the moment, but I don't really understand how you play off that hero. Obviously, we've talked about how Viking really like to have wave clear in their lineup, so I think that's something we should look towards.
So the question is, what do you want to play now, mid and off lane? Like, do you think we see like an Underlord come in for Viking?
Possibly. I think that they could still go Phoenix, honestly. I don't think they should be too worried about the Lina. Yes, it's annoying, but they could go like Phoenix Mars, second phase.
Yeah.
They could go like Shake 'em Off. They could honestly do anything. Like, this SAPPHIRE lifesteal doesn't really give anything away. Okay, so they go Clockwork.
So, that could be Clockwork 4 or 5, right? Like, because you've got the SNAPFire. I wouldn't say Clockwork's going to get priority in the 3, but it does give a way in for the lifestealer, which I feel like is something that I always look for in a draft that includes him, is just that vehicle of how am I going to get in and pop that infest, get to, like, say, the backlines of something, and there's that overall. And now I really like that counter pick from 5-man. I love that Oracle, and there's the Underlord. I'm taking your job, Mo. It's okay. I'm sorry.
Hey, I put the seed of wave clear in your head. So
you did.
Don't you come at me.
That's true. And you've been putting the seed of Underlord's an amazing hero in my head, so I haven't really forgotten it. So I'm not taking your job.
The Clockwork's obviously going to be Aramis's hero, I would assume, because I think Celery's usually the SNAPFire player for this lineup, right? I mean, it's a good Clockwork game. You know, none of these heroes like being isolated in fights and just getting gone on, right?
Yeah.
Even Tiny, if it's core, Clockwork can still just go on him and like push him back or whatever, or keep him in the cogs. I think getting onto Oracle at the start of the fight is obviously the main thing, but he has the Fate's Edict to stop the battery assault damage coming through onto himself as well, which is nice. This Clockwork Underlord lane, I'd be interested to see how they approach it, because now if you're 5-man, if you just pick some laner against Underlord that's really strong, like your Oracle can't really bully the Underlord, so they need something that can do that itself in as a core as well. So already thinking about things like Slark or whatnot, right? Which it looks like an okay game for it at the moment.
Ooh, okay, Timber.
Wow.
And Timber's being one of those, like, I feel like second phase, third phase kind of, not priority bans, but we definitely see it to, like, back something up. And are you surprised that, like, with the lineup that Viking have gone for so far, that they didn't ban it, maybe instead of, say, the Venge?
I mean, Jibe likes this hero. He's really good at it. I'm pretty sure they could probably play it as more than one position as a core as well. But I look at this lineup at the moment on Viking. Yes, they have the Underlord, which is kind of good against Timber because you have the Roots, you have the Firestorm, which is obviously percentage damage based partially as well. But
Yeah.
it looks like a really good Timber game. They don't really have any raw magic damage to work with on Viking. They don't. I guess Clock can build Vessel, which is okay, but you're playing against Oracle, so that Oracle can always just purge off the Vessel with Fortune's End. They have multiple saves. And if you ever ult the Timber on Oracle, you get the double HP regen coming in as well, which with reactive armor is absolutely crazy. I like 5-man's 4 heroes so far. I worry that they're going to they're going to be in the same position again, though, that they don't have any objective takers like yesterday. So they need to make sure their last hero in their lineup can hit buildings.
Well, so that's the thing. In my eyes, I think with that, you switch the Tiny to the 4, you put the Lina mid. Lina is decent at taking towers, I would say. I mean, Tiny's good at taking towers at a certain point in the game. It definitely, it's a while. Just take towers well when you're Tiny with how slow you swing.
I don't know. When you get Echo Saber, those towers melt, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like Echo Saber is like just one of those enabling where you're just like, oh, I just took a third of its health away in 2 shots. But are you thinking maybe Viper here for Viking, or is that just not enough lockdown for them?
I think Viper's okay. I don't think lane's well against Lina, though. Mm-hmm. So they would just end up putting the Lina mid on 5 men, which is a problem. So
got to go SAPPHIRE mid then.
I'm really interested to see what they pick as their one, though, on 5 men, more than anything at the moment. I really don't know. Yeah, I'm really unsure about how they want to approach it. Like, they could go for something like Monkey King potentially is okay as well, but I don't like it that much.
I'm not the hugest fan of Monkey King. I feel like, I feel like Monkey King's ult is like useless. Like, it's just, or not useless. I feel like that's way too unforgiving of that, but like it just feels like it's not very well placed no matter what you do, unless there's an arena there already. But then again, like, you need that extra piece. And they go, so they go drought. So they go earlier oriented. And that does give them pushing potential and a lot of early damage. I think that's okay, especially with the marksmanship.
I think the lane's really good against Underlord as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, Underlord's just going to shove the Wayne in, but shove the lane in. I think I said Wayne. But Underlord should always get farm as well. That lane early on is fine for the Underlord, but as the game goes on, it gets a little bit harder. They do have some gap close, though, with the clockwork, which is nice. But yeah.
Oh, okay.
And they're going to go Voice Spirit. Okay. Natural Vessel Builder as well, if they really want to push the priority from the 4 to the 2 in terms of who buys it. It's also gap close for the Oracle, which I think is really important in this game. Gap close for the Drow, which is also really important. But again, look at the wave clear that they have on Viking. Mm-hmm. Every game, I feel like I watch them, at least 3 heroes have good sources of wave clear. They've got SAPPHIRE, Underlord, Void Spirit this game.
Yeah, and
then there's Rocket Flare to push out from the other side of the map as well.
And then all of a sudden, for 5 men, it's like you do have some okay wave clear. Don't take away from what they've got. But like we said, that's Viking GG's thing. It's like having that wave clear, being able to keep these lanes pushed out. Do you think they can successfully do that against this 5-man lineup? Like, especially earlier on, say level 6, when you've got Drow who's hitting pretty hard at this point. You've got Timber who can push in the lanes with a little bit of help. Like, what are we looking at here in terms of timings for both these teams?
I think 5 men want to be playing from in front again, which is what we said about them yesterday. If they get in front, I feel like they have the potential to just stay in front if they play the map properly. But Viking, they're just going to want to do that thing where they dodge fights for a while. I think I just shove out lanes constantly, like we were saying with the Underlord, with the SAPPHIRE, whatnot. They're going to be very reliant on this Void Spirit being the one that makes the rotations across the map and to link up players with. But I feel like Boom does that a lot for Viking in most games. I don't think it's just this game in itself. And I'm personally interested to see who buys a vessel on Viking, and if anybody does, because they might feel like it's not got the same amount of value as it does because of the Oracle. I think they do have ways of killing the Timber now that they have the Void Spirit, though, because they have, Underlord, SAPPHIRE, and Void Spirit, which can do okay damage. But it's just whether the Oracle dies in the fights. Like these 2 supports on 5 men, the Lina and the Oracle, are both really squishy. So if they die at the start of the fights, I think 5 men look a lot weaker.
So it ends up being, at least in my eyes, a pretty fun game to watch. A lot of different heroes, I think, coming out in this draft than, say, the standard metas we've seen in other regions. I would say, for me at least, the Americas was pretty standard. But now we've got Timber, we've got Drow. We'll see what they can do with this. And if Viking, honestly, and I guess the same could be said for 5 men. If one of these teams is going to be the first to recover, they're both coming off O2s.
Have you seen
Viking more?
Yeah, have you seen Paladin starting items on Oracle? Dude, this guy has no talisman at level 1. Christ.
Mr. Take Your Kills with Purifying Flames level 2. With that null talisman. That 3% spell amp.
I mean, 3% could make a difference, honestly. And the mana regen's really nice as well on this hero. So I get it. It's fine. He doesn't really need a huge amount against the Clock Underlord, so... The only problem is, with this build, he has like such little regen that he's gonna have to send some more out straight away. But if Aramis gets on top of him at like level 2, level 3, he might be in trouble.
So I'm gonna ask the question. I feel like we do love this, but chat interaction time.
Let's do this.
Press 1 for 5 men. Press 2 for Viking GG. And then press 3 for you don't care, you just want to see 3 games.
Nice.
There we go. I love chat, you know, getting them involved.
I think this is a really close series. I think this one is more likely to go game 3 than either of the series we saw yesterday, I think. Super Ready from Boom. It's the Super Ready meme is back. I love it. It's like 5 men yesterday again. They don't know when to go because I think they just have the other team muted. Oh, I hate when teams do this though, and they have this time where they talk about what they want to do in the game and stuff because there's a quick pause. And then they don't unpause themselves. Hey, you know when you queue pubs and somebody like disconnects at the start of the game after the draft, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, I was just making coffee or something." You're like, "Dude, just come on, real."
So what's wrong with making coffee?
You do it before you queue.
Well,
Not wasting everybody else's time, you know.
that's
I mean,
fair.
that's happened to everybody's pubs before, I'm sure. If you
Nah,
say it hasn't happened in your pubs, guys, you're lying.
It's never happened to me. But at my pubs, people...
You're the one making coffee.
Yeah. All right, you don't have
Come
to
on, dude.
throw me under the bus on stream, you know? There are people watching. Come on, man. Please. You know, we'll see. I'm ready to see Ace again. I feel like he put on a good performance yesterday.
Yes, yeah. I think he played well. On the arc one, I feel like some of his positioning in the fights on the arc was a little bit suspect potentially, but yeah, he played well.
I did feel though that both games, and I was gonna say a lot of his games, but there's only been 2, were on him.
The woods have spoken.
Yeah,
Yes,
I think
yeah,
that's
but
very
that's
difficult.
'cause-
30
I mean,
seconds
Jibe and
to
Chessie
battle.
just fell off both games, right, so quickly.
Yeah, hard.
Jibe's playing Timbersaw this game. He has much more of an influence in this game, I think.
Yeah.
Which should be interesting to see. Because this hero scales really well this game. Like, there's so many different item builds you could go for. You know, that Bloodstone, you can go Lotus, you can go Greaves if you really want to as well, which could be useful against the Underlord route.
Do you think that Jibe has an open game in his lane? Because I've seen some Timber
battle
games where,
begins.
you know, they're just top of the net worth for the first 15 minutes.
I think Lifestealer does okay until like level 3 when he gets 2 points in living armor, and then it starts to get reactive armor. I'm just a big tree fan with living armor, but yeah, when 2 points in reactive armor comes to, I think the lane starts to get a little bit difficult. I think it'll be interesting to see how much XP Misery takes from this lane, because ideally the Timber is the guy that wants to be like taking all the XP for himself, right? He wants to be just getting to that level 3 as quickly as possible.
Is this a lane, though, that Misery can leave?
Yeah, I think he can. Oh, Celery dodges the first LSA. And something else I was going to say is I was a little bit disappointed with Misery's performance yesterday. I feel like on the Phoenix especially, I think he had a little bit of a difficult series. So I want to see a redemption arc from him today. Let's see, you know. Oh, okay, never mind.
Missing 2 LSAs
I'll
at
move
that
on.
point. Yeah,
I'll
we'll
move
go
on.
bottom. Appreciate that, Obs. Oh, man. But yeah, Pilot, I didn't think... So, Viking, I guess, game 2, I don't think they played that well. But I also don't want to take anything away from Ninjas in Pajamas because they played very well in that game. But, you know, this is a series that I feel like they need much more of a redemption arc as they threw a 20,000, or not threw, it's not on purpose.
No,
they ended up giving
at all.
away a 20,000 lead. Misery, honestly might just be dead. Gets the stun out, but there's the open wounds, and they've combined forces to try and get this kill. They need one more shot, and Shad will have first blood. Misery feeling like he's just so far from his Timber, and I mean, there's not really much Timber could do even if you were next to him like that.
You know what I don't understand about Lena, this open wounds at level 1 on Live Series? Why does it last 8 seconds at all levels? 8 seconds. That's such a long time.
Yeah, that is absurdly long. In this mid lane, you've got Boom up against Chessie. I will say the CS right now for 5-men is great. All 3 of their cores doing well.
Look at Drow's CS.
Yeah, 10 and 6.
Compared to
Having a great
Underlord.
time. Shutting down the lane, and this is what I feel like is the most impressive thing from Ace. He's laned really well.
But this is the lane that they need to be winning. It's 2 range heroes against 2 melee heroes, right? Like, just in itself is always going to be difficult for the melee heroes.
Yeah.
Just that
it's gonna be
constant poke
innately
coming
hard.
through.
But I think for Ace's sake, you definitely need to have Jibe doing well. Because I don't think just the Drow can hold this game.
No, of course, but he's hit that level 3 point now because Misery died.
Mm-hmm.
That was the panel. Do you remember when I said? Do you remember when I said Misery needs to not leech XP? This is Misery's brain is so massive. He just went and died on the side so that Timber got all the solo XP.
Who is the team that they used to talk about? Tactical feeding. Was that the
Tactical
old
feeding? I don't know.
C9 with Sing Sing?
Tactical feeding. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like maybe it was just between me and my friends group. It wasn't Sing Sing himself. It was just that C9 group.
That was C9. Yeah.
Clockwork taking a lot of damage over bottom. Aramis goes into the trees. Multi-shot. One shot from Dead. Now they focus on a Toby. He might fall too. Fortune's End. One more shot comes in from Pile Die. They get a kill down here bottom. And like we said, this lane is already very difficult.
But like we've said, I think 5-men have to be playing from in front of this game if they want to give themselves the best chance to. Which I know sounds really stupid if they want to give themselves the best chance to win, but their lineup plays really well from ahead. Because this Tiny wants to be making moves around the map constantly. Boom is going to get the 4-minute rune. So Chessie's bottle not going to be refilled, unfortunately. So I imagine when Pile Die T's... Oh, he's actually not going to walk all the way back to base. Okay. I was thinking about if somebody might look to try and TP mid to refill the Tiny's bottle at some point.
I'm wondering if somebody's going to do another one of those, like, tactical feats. You tactically die, and then you fill up your bottle mid. Well, I feel like we see it a lot in, like, I don't know, some games. I say a lot in some games. Let me just completely negate what I'm trying to say.
What's Drow have? She's got double Wraith and Bands of Elven skin already. Wow, she's going to hit really hard.
Money to burn. Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Highlight out, yeah.
He's in some trouble here.
Oh, they
Cogs, right clicks from Ace.
They didn't firestorm the cogs though. They firestormed the wave. So yeah, no chance to kill the Oracle, unfortunately. How does Celery have 10 CS already? She's just constantly pulling. And Misery and Celery are both just constantly pulling.
I'm pretty sure it's just the neutral camp that he's been killing constantly here. And then Jibe always comes over and tries to grab 1 or 2 of those CS.
Now they're just going to meet in the jungle again, the waves.
Look at each other awkwardly. The wave's now on a completely different path line.
This top lane is a mess. 6-minute haste rune bottom, so Cheshire's going to get that one this time. Now Boom's in Boom's struggling. He's going to go in the bounty room though.
And the bottom, Pilot Die. Good gust. That'll keep Pilot Die alive. They might actually be able to kill off Aramis. Ooh, steps into the Pit of Malice. But they still have the Fortunes and Pilot Die, not a lot of mana. And actually, I say actually twice. Now a third time, but they get the kill into Aramis. Meanwhile, Toby, he ends up dead with Chessie rotating over.
Really nice play by Chessie there. And this bot lane is going really, really well for 5 men. And I think the top lane's going to get harder and harder for this Lifestealer top as well. Yes, he can sustain himself, but they're not stopping this Timber from farming. And does anybody have Vestal queued up? Not at the moment. It's like he wants to just go straight Ags on the Void Spirit, which I don't mind either.
I wonder who ends up getting it, or does it, you know, become a object for Aramis to maybe grab? Strel's about to hit 6. Like, you need to be careful fighting into this.
This Void Spirit's rotating bot as well, but he's sitting under a ward, so they know he's coming. And Pilot Eye's just breaking the path for the Void Spirit to get onto the Drow. And so he's just wasted so much time coming down here.
Leaves Chessie open. Chessie's continuing to gain an advantage on this Void Spirit. Gets close to 8 while Void Spirit's looking for 7.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
But with the TP back, Boom will have some open space to farm himself.
Oh, he actually went Treads on Tiny. I haven't seen this in a while. Most people have just been going like phase routes windlays and just running around and trying to kill people. So maybe we see a slightly different Tiny item build this game.
Shed getting aggressed on a little bit, but Jibe with the
Nice try.
risky drop of the item.
They're trying to keep the catapult alive as long as they can to at least get some damage on the tier 1 top, but I think it's really difficult to make those moves until the second catapult wave comes, which is going to be at that 10-minute mark. So that's when I think you might expect to see like a Drow rotation towards the top lane to finish this top tier 1 when that 10-minute wave hits.
Broom handle for the Void Spirit. Goes into the little camp right there next to the mid lane. Picks up a broom handle. Always a nice item to get early on. I think I say that about every tier 1 item. They're all nice to get. It feels like a lot of the tier 1 items are just that good. Like, I don't know. I don't know if I could tier list them if I had to.
I think that Iron Talon for the Lifesteal is going to be really helpful considering, you know, he can't really lane against the Timbersaw anymore, so he's going to be hitting the jungle anyway.
And then Toby, gosh, going down, and it looks like Aramis might follow Cogs, but
Gets the,
let me just get
marks.
marksmanship.
Yeah. Gets the proc right at the end, and now Timbersaw's running into the jungle. They want to try and find Celery here as well.
Does he have any backup from this? Misery's sitting a little far back, but I don't know if Jibe needs the help. The Infest will probably keep Celery alive, though. I say that, but
he's fine. Gives him the extra HP regen, the Infest as well. So.
So Shad, you can see where he is in terms of the net worth. He's not too far back. Like, I think the top 6 are kind of close, or the top 5. I'll retract 1 because Toby's not exactly having the best start.
I think the question is for me, how much can 5 get done at this 10-minute mark with taking towers? Like, where do they want to make the rotation? They're going to go mid on Chessie, though.
Avalanche comes through on a 3. Aether Remnant now lands as the Cogs pull him into the Aether Remnant. Aramis with Fortune's End, and they just don't have the damage to kill off this Clockwork in return. I think Pilot Die hit 6 after Chessie died.
Yeah, I think he just hit it from the midwave, so.
Yeah.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Either that or he just didn't get there in time. I didn't see.
Top tower is under attack.
And it looks like they don't even need the catapult wave to kill this top tier 1. Jibe's just going in.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Yeah, he just gets to stand and take that tower.
Dire's top tower.
That's the best part as a Timbersaw. You know you don't take towers well, but you are so dangerous that you just stand there and right-click the entire time.
I mean, you don't take damage, right? So it's just so easy. He has Arcane Sowing, and he's almost got a hood as well. So this Timber looking really strong right now.
Ooh, good move out by Ace. Look at this. Viking just diving under the tier 1 tower. They got the scan. They're just a second too late, and now the mid-tier 1's in trouble.
Radiant structures are fortified.
They do have the double damage on the Void Spirit inside the bottle, so they'll rotate and probably try to fight this and defend if they find the right opening.
I mean, Viking coming over. Do they have the hook shot mid? Yeah, they do. And you see the
Yeah.
smoke from bot with Celery and Boom coming on the SAPPHIRE and the Void Spirit from the south.
You'll have that jump. You'll have the Mortimer's Kisses coming in, and False Promised himself. Misery's gonna die off this one. Pilot Eye survives for now. They've got the toss onto Aramis. Timber chain away. Does Pilot Eye survive this? Fortunes and Ace throwing some right clicks their way. Aramis one shot from dead. He'll fall. Oracle does survive. They find Celery.
Dire's middle tower has
Shibe
fallen.
by himself at least. Just trying to corral this Mortimer and Ryder.
But then look at Toby at the same time in the bot lane. There's still a catapult here, so somebody from 5-man has to come down here now, which decreases the pressure that they can put in on this like dive mid. So they're gonna have to run away now.
Dire's middle tower
Arcane Rune
is
for the
under
tiny.
attack.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. I will say though, that is they got the mid tower and now the jungle's open. So if they can invade and find Shad, because he's farming really well at the moment. He backed up into the jungle. He didn't exactly have an amazing lane, but look at where he is in the net worth. He's towards the top. He is at the top. He's doing a good job. Like, this is really good for the Lifestealer, but they've taken the tier 1 top and mid, so I'm expecting, at least from my eyes, that they invade the jungle and make his game
Radiant's
harder
middle
if they
tower is
can.
under attack.
Yeah, potentially. And I really like the Iron build that he has keyed up. So he's gone for Armlet. Sometimes you'd be like, okay, well, what do I want as my second Iron? Because there's so many different things you can buy, right? But this game, when
Yeah.
you're playing against the Drow, you really need the extra armor to try and help deal with this like marksmanship procs. So he's going straight for that AC second, which is really strong. I wondered whether, he might go for the Halberd, or, I mean, you talked about the BKB earlier. It's not a great game for it here, but...
It's that 30 attack speed, hitting that much quicker.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
He's going to farm really quickly now.
Yeah, and he's doing a very good job, and I think 5-man really need to react to that. They're playing very far back, and you can see Jibe go and invade the jungle. That's exactly what I was hoping for, but more so I think, at least if you're rooting for 5-man, in a way that probably included a smoke and included trying to get a full gank out.
When do they feel like they can deal with this Timber, though? I mean, they need the Axe on Boom.
Avalanche
He's gonna
toss
get
on a
tossed there.
boom. Astral step away.
This is what I say. So Viking, they're making their plays on the map is really difficult unless the Void Spirit's involved, right? And I'm really interested to see at what point they feel like they can definitely fight and be strong this game. A hook shot, mid.
Looking over, Mortimer's Kisses coming through. Looking to get this kill into the Oracle. He'll false promise himself. Chessie on the back lines. LSA that lands onto the Void Spirit. They have the Laguna Blade and the Dragon Slave to get the kill in a boom. Pilot Eye survives after the false promise. Coming around is the Timber. So Aramis gets tossed up into the air. He's in trouble. Purifying Flames gets the kill. Pilot Eye now on a killing spree. He's 3-0-3.
They're playing well around this mid lane, especially. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, this Lifesteal is free farming, but I mean, this Void Spirit
bottom tower is under
is
attack.
not really having a fun time. That is his
Dire's
first death,
courier
but
has been killed.
he's not having the game that he wants to be having, right?
Chad needs to be very careful. The entire time, though, Ace is just farming and doing his thing, like we've seen this before. He's in top of the net worth now. We said the Lifestealer was farming well, but, you know, even Ace is up there.
So you see, Jibe has found a little small creep, right? Do you reckon he just gets it to follow him for the rest of the game? Because he just gets reactive armor stacks from it? Oh, dude, look, he doesn't ever have to kill it.
That's the 300 IQ play.
Oh, Jibe. He missed a creep because of that. What a play by the neutral.
Over mid, taking a look. Fortune's End, multi-shot coming through to simulate. Can they get on top of Boom? Chessie with the blink forward, but again, the infest. Really helping out. So this Underlord did go to the Yules instead of the Rod of Atos. Although, didn't the last Underlord go both?
No, hang on.
Scatterblast. Snapfire Cookie, or Fire Snap Cookie coming down on a Chessie. Mortimer's Kisses too. Chessie in a lot of trouble. And no false promise from Pile I Die.
Regeneration.
Actually, just both die. Really well played by Viking there to find an opening.
Yeah, whenever Timber shows on the map, Viking can take fights wherever the Timber's not right now. They can't deal with the Timber, but they can kind of deal with everyone else. So, yeah, if they see the Timber just pushing out bot lane, then they're absolutely fine. He is going to TP mid here, though, to try and defend the tier 1.
Rhino and Aether Remnant. Rage is used to chain across. They've got the Pit of Malice, but the damage out onto the Clockwork. They get the kill on Oramus. They're forced to move back already.
I mean, as soon as that Timber TP's in there, I think you just have to run. I'm really surprised they tried to go in a little bit further. That's, you know, a bit crazy.
Toby pulls this over. Getting that stack, then she'll look for the Firestorm. Meanwhile, Drow inside the triangle has the Hurricane Pike going into the Yasha. They have the Clumsy Net for Viking GG, which I think is exactly what Toby would love if he takes it.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They could give it to Void Spirit as well. It's pretty good.
He's got a Q.
Oh no, he wants the Clumsy Net on the Underlord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, they got another shot on Radiant.
I was talking about the Clumsy Net.
Oh, I think you took. Sorry, I thought you said Nether Shore. That's what I was looking at.
I mean, maybe I did
Yeah.
say it, but I was in my head. I was like, Clumsy Net, yeah.
But they get the Nether Shore for the Timber, which is really good this
Dire's
game.
top tower
So he's
is
going to get
under
the
attack.
Plate Mail next from the Lotus Orb. And then he's going to have so much magic resistance with the Hood and the Nether Shore.
Radiant's
And like, if
bottom
you look at
tower
Vikings
is
lineup, how do they
under
deal with a Timber Saw with a Nether Shore? I actually don't know. And they're going to get the Roche for themselves here. But Viking, they couldn't fight anyway. At the moment, so I don't think them having the Aegis makes a difference to how Viking want to play. They still just want to dodge fights, right? Just shove different lanes out as much as possible, try and force rotations.
Sweet Shad. Just his attack speed right now feels so very
Dire's top
so
tower
high.
is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
They really need this Axe on the Void Spirit. He's going to have it in 300 gold. Just feels so slow in the game. You're going first item Axe after triple null. And you would like to have had it by now. Timber's going to
Dire's
TP
top
bot as
tower
well.
is under
So now
attack.
Viking, now that the Timber's showing bot, they might be able to try and make a play top. And you see that all TPing in.
Yeah, they're dark rifting. They want to make the move. Timber already left. Hookshot comes through onto Chessie. They'll pop the Infest. They'll toss back
There's a haste,
the
though.
Clockwork. And he's got the haste rune, so he's going to try and disengage. The four heroes stay together. Timber coming across now, and you can see him get towards the mid lane. Everybody rotated for this, and they don't get anything out of it.
And this is exactly what they want to do. Now they can force a 5-on-5 top lane.
Oh, look at
where
that.
Viking
The
aren't
Gust
shoving
and the
lanes in.
avalanche toss. That was a beauty.
Wasn't too bright. That wasn't too bright.
Dire's top tower.
And they're
is
just going to
under
take this
attack.
tier 2 tower.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
So now,
Now
the
they get
outpost
Viking-
is open right before the 20-minute mark.
Yeah, they get Viking in a position where they're not shoving lanes in, like side lanes and things. Split pushing, so now they can just force fights and run at them.
Wow. The timing on that actually worked out really well for the side of 5M. Viking,
Well,
though,
they're gonna
I don't want to say that they're out of this by any means. It's only 4K lead. It's, an earlier
Sorry?
oriented lineup. Ooh, Lifestealer might be in some trouble. Clumsy Net comes through onto Shad.
Dire's middle tower.
And he's
is
forced to
under
rage
attack.
away. And then Celery's still getting chased here, and eventually will fall to the Timber Saw. Not much you can do, especially with that extra control of the Yules for the Timber.
They're going to try and get this tier 2 again. Aramis is still trying to push in this bot lane to force rotations back, but without a catapult wave, it's so difficult to force this lane in. Cheshire as well has the Echo Saber with the treads, so he actually hits this tower much harder, much quicker than normal because of the treads. So it's going to fall really quickly here.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Lifestealer does almost have AC though, which is going to be a big timing for them. He's like 200 gold off.
And they find out pick up that Ags for Boom.
I think this is a huge timing here. You have the Axe on the Void Spirit and you have the AC on the Lifestealer. I think this is a point in the game, even if you're 6k net worth behind, you can actually make things happen still. And you can actually make fights happen.
A lot of gold for Pilot Eye.
He's never seen this much gold in his life, I don't think.
Well, he's only got 1 death.
That is shocking.
Oh, yeah, I know chat was like, this isn't die. And I'm like, yeah, it's Pilot Eye. Come on, man. Smoke from 3, Chessie, Misery, Pilot Eye. They all smoke up. They'll head towards bottom to help Ace and Jibe. Dark Rift over bottom, and now they're going to clash in the mid lane. They've got the silence out into Misery. Mortimer's Kiss is coming through, as well as the open wounds out onto the Lina. They've got the silence out of this Oracle. They take out Pilot Eye Die, so maybe I've cursed him in a way. Misery just walks away. They've got the right click damage onto the SAPPHIRE. Multi-shot comes in. They get the kill on Accelerate. Now they look towards the back lines, pushing away Misery, but with the buyback from Pilot Eye Die, he's here to get the save.
Oh, the drow.
Double kill. They get the kill on a Chessie. They take on a Rammus with the Laguna Blade. And moving forward is just this Timber looking over at Shad. He doesn't have the rest of the team immediately behind him. They just can't keep up.
He's very quick. They almost killed Misery at the start of that fight. I don't know if you saw it. They ran out of range on the kisses, so they couldn't quite finish him off before he found the way to the side of the fight. But they did kill the Oracle at the same time. If they'd have killed both, it would have been so much better. But yeah, that is the big reveal for them with the Axe and the AC, and they didn't quite get as much as they would have liked.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
They'll lose the bottom tier 1. Ace should be able to pressure the tier 2. This is at least for 5 men right now. So far, so good.
I mean, the fact that 2 heroes on 5 men have gone completely untouched the whole game in the Drow and the Timber is a big worry, right? Neither of these heroes have been contested at all, if it was like...
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Looks like they're just going to get the tier 2.
Dire's structures are fortified.
They want to try and fight now, though, on Viking while they know the Aegis is down.
Dire's
Problem is, I think if you lose a fight like this...
Well, this could be a good opening for Aramis.
It could have been, but they spot him, and now they've got the LSA to follow it up. The Timber Chain as well as the right click coming in. The Pit of Malice lands on a 2. Boom, moving forward, gets the silence on an Ace. They'll look towards the back lines to go for the trap, but they've got the silence out onto the Void Spirit. They get the kill on Accelerate. Now they look over at the Laguna Blade. The right click damage coming in. The Essence Ring is used. They've killed off Aramis. There's 2 down on the side of Viking GG. Shad come over and will infest Boom to try and keep him alive, but they've got the Avalanche toss. That'll pop the Infest. They'll Dark Rift away, but they can't! Toby, he ends up dead before he's able to get that off.
Clumsy net.
They've got the clumsy net. They look over at Shed. He's surrounded. Goes to right click Chessie, but won't be able to do so. It's a full team wipe in the favor of 5 men. All of a sudden, an 11k lead, and we talked about how that fight could stabilize for Viking GG, but if they lose it, all of a sudden, 5 men, they blow up and go so far ahead, up 11k now.
I'm really surprised Aramis got like shocked by the start of that fight as well, with the Tiny just blinking in, because they had full ward control. I thought he was just going to jump the Jow and the Lina at the start of the fight. But...
There's a haste on Chessie. He's waiting for him to come back to form. Come back to visibility. We'll toss up. Oh, Celery surviving with 19 health. But this tier 3 will go down. The base is open.
They're gonna get the Ranger Axe and back off here. I think they just have to still respect them. Oh, they didn't even take the Ranger Axe. They're gonna play it safe.
Timber is probably not the one you want to go for. If they could get Timber, that would be great. But he pops the Lotus Orb. The Yules comes out onto Toby as well as Jibe. Right clicks coming in. Rage used. Goes after Ace. Open wounds. They've used a lot now. So Lifestealer can't exactly chase in anymore. They've got the cooldowns out onto the Rage and the open wounds.
Look at Misery's net worth as well this game.
Above the underworld. Wow.
Yeah, this is what I was hoping from him from this game. Like, it's just a much better performance from him so far. And he's getting these stuns off now in the fights. Getting his spells off. And he's going for MKB next as well. Okay. I mean, they've just played really well as a unit in our group this game. They've made the right rotations on the map. They know how Viking want to play the map, and they've responded, really well for themselves.
$14k lead for 5 men, but I mean, as was shown in the second series of the day, no lead is safe.
Yeah, this is a bit different though, because they actually have tower hitters this game
that's right.
on 5 men. They actually have this drow that can destroy buildings. She's getting towards that BKB as well. They're going to wait for second Roche, I would imagine. And it's a really quick spawn.
Dire's middle
It's
tower
going to be
is under
very good
attack.
timing for 5-man. Yeah, okay, so they get spotted in the Roche pit. The question is, can they fight into this? And they're already coming over. I mean, the hook shot, Mortimer's kisses,
Look at the Timbers
third of the health
positioning.
gone, and now Jibe moves forward. They've got the avalanche as well as the toss. The toss wasn't onto Aramis, but they get the kill onto the clockwork. Now they look over at Chessie. They get the kill onto the Tiny, so it's ending up being a 1-for-1. They'll buy back on Chessie immediately, but they lose Toby. Timber chain forward on a boom, as well as Shad. Assimilates, trying to get some distance. Timber chain, Shad taking a lot of damage, goes to the open wounds as well as the rage. Right clicks coming in from Ace. The bash is out onto the Timber Saw as well as the Aether Remnant. That locks up the Lena for a second, but look at this. Whirling Death, Avalanche, Toss, Boom goes down. He buys back immediately. He's forced to buy back. Celery trying to make some space with the GG branch, but it's not going to make enough space. They get the kill there. They take him out. He buys back as well. So they're using a lot of buybacks. They almost get the kill out on to Jibe, but he has 47.5 regen per second, so he'll be ready to go once again in just a second.
You have to remember, this whole time, Pilot was just standing behind the rest of his team, ready to false promise somebody. He didn't even use it that whole fight. So they still have everything up. There's no cooldowns for them to wait for. And this is it for Viking. This is the last hurrah. If this fight doesn't work for them, then I'd be very surprised if they didn't call it.
Outpost taken back by Viking and, well, 5-man. Hoping towards that Aegis and Cheese. They're going to smoke, though. They might just fight.
I mean, if they give, they have to give, make sure they contest this Aegis. Because if 5-man get Aegis here, I don't see how this Drow ever dies for the rest of the game. But Jibe understands how strong he is on this hero right now, and so he doesn't care. He's just going to run at them.
Push out mid a little bit. Sentry ward off the cliff, and ooh, enchanted quiver.
Players here.
I guess Ace is gonna want to stick with the Titan Sliver.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
And it's just, you know, this stalemate right now that 5-man are happy with. They're farming, they're pushing out mid. They know that Viking GG can't exactly hold getting Roche, and all they can do here is wait for either an initiation or an attempt to go in for Roche. They've got Aramis coming around the back. They're going to want to position themselves well enough to go against this. Cogs into the Pit of Malice, right clicks on Aramis already from the high ground. You can see how much damage he takes from just one right click from Ace.
I mean, Jibe's just sitting here.
With flair.
They're trying to spot this Clockwork, who's looking for a hook shot onto the Drow. Now they've got the Pit of Malice. Ace, Fortune's End, Avalanche Toss onto the Void, who's infested. And Astral Step, Aether Remnant looking for Chessie. He's surrounded by the Cogs. Astral Step out. So they're around this Tiny, but they've got themselves the False Promise. They'll get the kill with the Laguna Blade on a boom. Ace has been surrounded. He's in some trouble. Pops the Manta on the run. Whoa, the stun! Not enough. Ace ends up dead. He doesn't have buyback, so now a lot of that damage might be gone for the side of 5-man. I don't know if it's going to matter. Purifying Flames finishes off Toby. They'll go after Shad. Purifying Flames on the right clicks now for Misery. 3 heroes end up dead without buyback. They've got the Avalanche as well as the toss onto Aramis, and they'll get the kill on the Clockwork. So it still ends up being a 4-for-1, despite the fact that they get the hard hitter of Drow out of the fight early.
Go.
Yeah, as soon as Boom dies in that fight, though, with the huge burst from the Tiny, I think it was the Laguna as well from the from Misery. That fight's so difficult for Viking to take. Like, Boom is so much of their control, but also damage, like raw damage output from magic-wise in the fights. So they lack that punch as soon as Boom dies in the engagement, and they have to commit so much to kill the Drow. But again, Jibe's still just been completely untouched the whole game. So they have two massive heroes that they have to worry about. They managed to kill one, but I think the others just in full flow in that fight.
He's back up in 9. Melee Rax. That lane will push in naturally now.
My question is now, what do Viking do here, right? Like, they're so far behind in terms of net worth. They can still kill individual heroes, but hook shot.
Yeah, that's not gonna work out for you, Aramis.
Okay. They found another one as well.
Yeah, they're gonna get a +1. Toby on the run. He's trying to juke and jive. MKB for Misery. Look at his net worth. He almost has as much as the Life Stealer. Excuse me, Toby did. But what?
Yeah, they're just gonna kill the Rocher. Yeah, I mean, Misery is a pretty greedy greedy player in general. Even when he played 5 on Chaos before, he was a relatively greedy player, and he has the level 20 now with the Fiery Soul talent. So he hits so quick and so hard with this MKB, especially with the quiver as well. I can't wait to just see him start right-clicking the Life Stealer in a 1v1. This is going to be great.
And you have 3-1 positions at the top of the network. Fire Snap Cookie stuns up Ace. Feels like with Misery having this much farm, like if Ace dies, they're kind of like still hit so hard, you know?
This is with Repair Kit.
Now with Repair Kit, they still can't do anything. The bashes come in. They've got the hookshot coming into the backlines on a Pilot die. He'll pop his Aeon disc, or it will get popped. Pitamalis is down. It's going to lock out on Jibe, but they've got the Mortimer's Kisses that are really just fired about the warfare. Gunablade hits on a Boom. They go for the right clicks on a Shad. They get the kill into the Life Stealer. Now they focus on the Rax. The Timber Chain into the backlines with the Dissimulate being used by Boom, but the right clicks coming from Misery once again with the Avalanche Toss. Hitting on the Void Spirit. Now they look over to Ramus. They'll take out the Clockwork. Dark Rift back, but GG's being called. 5 men will take game 1 with a phenomenal performance.
Yeah, really well played by 5 men. I mean, they executed their draft really well. Viking were kind of always playing from behind, right? Like you were saying, this Timber just had 3 side lanes. They took the top tier 1 really quickly. They played good rotations around that catapult waves, especially kingling that mid tier 1 really early as well from Viking. And I will say now, I'm pretty sure Viking have lost 5 games in a row across different competitions. Let me check that, because especially when they're not playing any of the tier 1 teams, I don't think I've heard that kind of form from them in ages. Let me check.
Yeah, maybe at first their inception of this roster. Like, it has been a long time since the form has been, I guess, this poor.